Hello, fellas and ladies. It's time to review A House of Dynamite, the latest from Oscar-winning filmmaker Kathryn Bigelow. First film since 2017's Detroit, which I liked. She also did like Zero Dark 30 and The Hurt Locker. She's a very well-acclaimed filmmaker. In A House of Dynamite, we see the procedural process of many roles in the U.S. government and how they respond to an oncoming ballistic missile heading directly towards the U.S. I'm a pretty big fan of Kathryn Bigelow. I really like the way that she does political thrillers. It feels like there's a lot more on her mind than procedural processes, as if I didn't just say that that's what this movie is. There always seems to be a bit of a character study element, like in Zero Dark 30 with Jessica Chastain's character. And what works about this movie is that while watching it, it is genuinely suspenseful. You are kind of watching this thing start to happen and start to kind of wonder if they're going to succeed in a way that you expect. It has a ticking time bomb element to it. A lot of what you hope for a Kathryn Bigelow movie is very here. She actually collaborates very well with Barry Ackroyd. The way the camera moves, I actually thought was very effective. I've seen some say it feels like a TV movie. I kind of see it, but I think that's a bit harsh. It does look very cinematic, even if a lot of the movie takes place in like multiple locations, like very inside. There is an interesting element to this movie that we get to see the chain of command and the order of that and how the government does respond to this. It feels very well researched and at the very least well intended. We get to see something like how the military responds, Situation Room, the National Security, FEMA, Stratcom, and all the way up to like the Pentagon and even the president. I think that stuff is very interesting. With that being said, I do think that this movie feels a little like a wash. It is a very successful thriller, but as a political thriller, I can't help but feel it was a bit empty on substance or even direness. You definitely leave the movie feeling a little bit like dread, like it's almost like a big doom scroll. But leaving the movie, I couldn't help but think about what the movie did wrong from a narrative standpoint than how effective its like messaging was. So actual point beyond education, which isn't an inherent problem. But I also wonder, are they saying that this could have been done better? It almost feels like nothing more could have been done in a way. Almost feels like it's implying like this is the best we got, and maybe I don't know if the movie even offers a solution. And I don't know if you noticed, I'm no U.S. government official. I live in a different country and I'm stupid. I do movie reviews on YouTube after all. Best way I can put it is the movie is split into three parts. Like, are they supposed to like have a government official watch this movie and think, oh, we gotta do better at this? Because I did kind of watch this movie and think, well, what else were they supposed to do in a way? The movie is like split into three chapters, all kind of taking place in the same period of like 20 or 30 of noticing when the missile is sent. And it is an interesting like dissection of how each thing does respond to this. However, you feel a certain amount of tension and dread in the first part, and then the other two, it's kind of like, how do I feel tension anymore? I would more blame the writing on that one than more just the concept in general, because like after the first time, it's like, well, what dread am I feeling that I haven't already felt? I think all three chapters are about like one specific thing. You know, one's about, you know, how they try to stop it. The other chapters about how they try to find where it came from. And then the final one's about how they respond. I'm not saying any of these are worthless, but it can feel like we're going in circles a little bit. Not to a point where I was like, oh my god, we've done this already. I didn't get that, but it did feel like the suspense was starting to wear out. And I just kind of watching just dread and bleakness. This is a bleak movie, and I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with that. But there's not much to grab onto. Part of that is that despite its all-star ensemble, there's no one to really grab onto. Probably my favorite element of the movie was in the third act when Jared Harris like had a very interesting like part in this. He is very human. Idris Elba also had an interesting thing. This is all in the third chapter. And even though Idris Elba in general, I don't think particularly, I think his performance art is great. He's very charming, but I don't think his character has the pull. Jared Harris does, but even that's like 5 minutes of the movie. Everyone else is like, the most you get is like, oh, I have a kid at home, I hope, you know, like stuff like that, kind of stuff you expect, and we don't really get any deep into that because we got to get into the procedural like process. And then the ending happens. I think you've heard that it's like a lot of people just didn't like that ending, and I would agree with that. It definitely was the moment where I was like, oh, this was kind of a waste of my time. Like, I did kind of go, oh, okay, so that was just a short film. Like, where was like nice 20-minute movie. Where's the rest of it? In the moment, I was like, I feel like there's more movie left. What do you mean directed by Catherine Bigelow? What do you mean produced by these guys? It does kind of just end, and it really frustrated me because I was just like, okay, we spent increments of 20 to 30 minutes kind of going over the same thing, and now it's just over. Because I'm just like, well, is it going to resolve in some way? It's fine. I'm not even saying you need a particular catharsis or even a happy ending for that matter. It's just not the kind of movie it is. That's okay. But there's nothing to latch onto about this movie except like, oh, this is what it is. This is how the government responds. Is a U.S. government official supposed to watch this and change their mind? It does kind of come off as Doom for the sake of Doom, which I don't think was the intention, but I think that's how it comes off. Performances are all very good. I think I already mentioned Jared Harris and Idris Elba. I thought Rebecca Ferguson was very good. I thought Tracy Letts was a really nice standout. The guy who played J.D. Vance, whose name I'm blanking on, I think Gabriel Labasso or some shit, which is very close to LaBelle, so I might be wrong. Elephant in the room, obviously, is Volker Bertelmann's score. I have an issue. I even said this in a review recently for Ballad of a Small Player, that he just kind of finds a sound and runs with it. And this is just the Conclave score. Like, this is the Conclave score. Like, to a degree where I was like, oh, this is sad. I had seen this before Conclave. I'd be like, hey, good score. But I kind of can't when I'm praising another movie's score. I don't think there's anything wrong with, like, the filmmaking here. I think all of my issues kind of come down to structure and intent, I guess. I don't think intent was bad, but I kind of wonder what the intent was beyond just, oh, uh-oh. Like, hey, nothing wrong with a warning, I guess, but I don't know. I think it's a movie. You need a little more to latch onto, both like narratively and emotionally. And I get that that's not what this is, but that doesn't, like, I can't really give that movie that much credit when it's basically just a feature-length poli-sci lesson with movie stars. House of Dynamite finds Catherine Bigelow back into the territory of effective political suspense. However, this time it feels like not much was accomplished. Just bleak wheels turning to examine the U.S. government's response to attack with no resolution. And while I acknowledge that perhaps that was intentional, it feels like not much was accomplished beyond a doom scare with an ending that propels the film's uselessness. And I'm going to give A House of Dynamite 4 government guys out of 10. Yeah, very disappointed. This is definitely up there as one of my most disappointing movies of the year. I think this movie is a little DOA for Best Picture. Like, my feelings aside, this movie isn't, like, grabbing many... Like, it's got really good reviews. I have to acknowledge that. But I also, like, I don't know. I am seeing it take a turn. I am seeing a lot of people say, like, well, the ending is so, like anticlimactic, which is the point, and most people will probably acknowledge that, but it doesn't really lend itself to, like, being people's favorite movies of the year. I do think it's screenplay or bust. They could still go for that screenplay, just because it's very September 5-y. But otherwise, this could be a very, very easy goose egg. Alright, that's what I got for you guys. Like, subscribe, and share. Just don't blow up America while you're gone, please. The U.S. government will respond.